the issues in the news. Like we'd always do, we would have guests every single day or any other day or every other day to help us dissect some of the issues in the news. Today, we want to look at the alleged alliance between APC and the judiciary. Um, so many persons would say it's more like a reminiscent of what we have had under the PDP. Some others say that, well, this is totally different. Given the wave of judgment that has come, the Kano State, Zamfara State, and of course Plateau State, it does look like there is some sort of an alliance between the judiciary and the APC. We're looking at the implications of this if it is true. And are there really any proof to that effect that there is an alliance between the APC and the judiciary? All right, we have live with us in Owerri, I guess, Mr. Zanders Okeke. Mr. Zanders, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Charles. Good morning.
Good morning. So what's your take on what's going on? Do you really think that there is an alliance between the APC
I,
and the judiciary in Nigeria as it stands?
well, if you go by what transpired after the Kanu appeal court judgment, where the governor of Kanu said he's still taking it to the Supreme Court, you heard what the APC lawmaker said there. He said they can take it anywhere, even take it to the Supreme Court. Then we will show them, they will show us who they know, and we will show them who we know. I mean, is that not enough to tell you that there seems to be an alliance? You don't need a soothsayer to tell you that. The truth is that if you look at the period of the PDP, for example, you saw how the Action Congress then, which was more of a regional party, the Southwest, you saw how they reclaimed their mandate using the judiciary to reclaim their mandate from what was termed, election malpractices. And it was under a PDP government. But that's not what you're seeing now, Charles. You know that. That's not what you're seeing now. In places where APC is removed or APC is sidelined for the next person to maybe the party that comes second, you will hear that it's either there's going to be a rerun or they need to check one or two other things. You understand? But when it's the other way around, look at the Kanu, look at the Plateau, and even which one? I think Zamfara. Do you understand? For Kanu, it is handover. I mean, Kanu's issue is not a political party's issue. It's INEC. The court did not indict INEC. The court did not reprimand INEC. The court did not question INEC for not stamping its ballot papers. And now you're unleashing it on the governor. I tell you, Charles, I said this some 3 days ago that you see the way and manner this country handles the Kanu incident. It will tell us whether that revolution that people have been talking about might start from there. You understand? I mean, we can't continue like this. It cannot be a one-sided thing. You understand? Look at what happened at the Presidential Tribunal, for example. All the issues that were brought to the judiciary to either interpret or reprimand or even correct, or, you understand, make us understand what it is. They've killed everything on technicalities. Even lawyers of today, some senior advocates, some senior lawyers, are shocked that such judgments or such pronouncements are coming out from the judiciary. You have the likes of Michael Zekome, you have the like of Femi Falana, even the last NBA president, Akpata, who is going to be contesting elections in Edo State. They've almost said that they are amazed or shocked at some of the verdicts. And this is a country, Charles, let me tell you, I'm a student of history. This is a country where even the British people hired our judges to come interpret laws for them. The Justice Calder Shores of those days, the Justice Oputa of those days, they went to England to interpret laws for people that taught them the law. And today we have judges that are like cash and carry. I tell you, man, I am shocked. I can't. In fact, I don't have the right words to state it. But whatever is happening, I would just want to tell the APC that, when you push somebody to the wall and there's no space for the person to go through the wall, the reaction might be more than NSAS. That's my
Mm.
take.
Well, all right. Obasanjo the other day said that a liberal democracy that is practiced in Europe and America, isn't welcomed in Africa. It hasn't really worked for Africa. Um, is it really in the context of what you have said? What's going on? Is it true by his assertion that democracy, liberal democracy of the Europeans or Americas hasn't actually worked in Africa, or it is the political figures and people who are involved are not really practicing democracy the way it should be?
Are we really practicing democracy? Look at what transpired in the off-cycle elections in Bayelsa, Kogi, and Imo.
Mm.
The people have lost faith. They didn't bother coming out. I mean, check out all the statistic INEC gave. In Imo, for example, over 2 million plus accredited voters, but less than 700 came out to vote. You understand? And even that is being contested as manipulative figures, because the polling units I voted in, it was out of 520, only 65 people.
Wow.
You understand? I begged my wife, I begged my neighbor, I talked to 3 young men. All of them said, "Oh God, leave this thing. They don't write there. Anything. Let them do what they want." You understand? What is happening here is that it is not the liberal democracy. Is that our political leaders have taken the wheel. And you see, once a people lose that will to be citizens, that will to be human beings, you understand? They don't give a damn about what happens. And that is the predicament we've found ourselves now. And the shocking thing is that there's nobody that will come and help us. Nobody. You understand? Look at the presidential tribunal. The drug baron. Ooh. Forged certificate. Where did he take us to? FCT and Charles, now the judges have told us that and does not mean anything. Rice and beans, you can say it's rice or it's beans. 36 states and FCT, it means they are 37 or they are 36. You don't need the and does not mean mass and in, that means I can even sue my school for denying me to study law. You understand? Because it says for you to study law, you must get this, and it's a prerequisite. And but now they've told us it doesn't. You see, in the foreign democracy or the liberal democracy, as former President Olusegun puts it, people, there are some cases you see, the verdict that will come at the end of the day. But look at us in Nigeria today. Even the one we know. Okay, look at Plateau State, for example. It's supposed to be a party matter, a pre-election party matter. In this same country called Nigeria, a judge has said that another party has no basis interfering in the affairs of another political party. And this man won free and fair. And now, because APC is the beneficiary, a pre-election matter, that is a party affair, has now been used to remove a government. How do you explain that to the layman who has heard other cases before where they say, you cannot bring, you are not a member of the political party, so you cannot come using that to topple or remove somebody? Are we now running double standards? Are we running double standards? So if you ask me, yes, Obasanjo even portraying what he called the Afro democracy. I don't think he has taught the concept out rightly. You understand? But at least he has thrown something out there that should get us thinking. Because I know growing up, I was told that we all had our system of governance. You understand? Like, in the southeast or typical Igbo area, it was more of a Republican nature kind of thing where it depends on what the issue is. That is when they look for the person that can handle. And, I think each kindred had a head, and from that head, they meet and all of that. In the northern part, it was more of the emirs as the head, and probably their spiritual leaders, the the mosque alphas and all of that. So that is theirs. And in the southwest, it was a blend of both the traditional institution, religious, and it was a mix. But when we started with the parliamentary system of government, and somewhere along the line, due to the civil war, you understand, we now borrowed the presidential system, which for me, if you ask me candidly, Charles, for me, it's quite expensive, and it's quite expensive to run, and it breeds too many unhealthy. In fact, it makes leaders lazy. You understand? It's all about dancing to the same tune. They don't really. We've not gotten to the point where we have intellectual intercourse in discussing issues that affect our people. What they do is just a jamboree kind of thing. In fact, it's supposed to be three arms of government: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary, all supposed to be independent. But what we are seeing under APC is that they want to consume all into one, like it was done in Lagos. I'm sorry to say, the president of Nigeria today, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you understand, when he was governor in Lagos, it's either you shape him into AD then and later to AC, or you are shaped out. Both the legislature, the judiciary, you understand. I remember there was a time the House of Assembly in Lagos had a PDP member, and what did they do to him? He was charged for gun running. I think they said they saw some guns and ammunition in his hands and all of that. And when the young man decided to jump ship to AC, then that charge was removed. You understand? And what does this do to the system? It kills the system. You're tilting the country to a one-party state, and for such diverse set of people, over 350 different ethnic tribes or ethnic groups, it is not going to help anybody. Democracy is more enjoyed when there's freedom of expression, when there are diverse opinion, there's those in power, there's those against power, and everybody, you know, brings what he has on board. You critique, and the judiciary is supposed to be independent in helping to interpret some of the issues that crop up. What are we seeing today? It's cash and carry. I don't I mean, have you not heard? Charles, you're a journalist. You understand? You're a news hound. Have you not heard that some millions of dollars was paid to some of these tribunal? I mean, how can such people still come out and tell us they are helping us make the right laws when it's already in the grapevine? Some people will even tell you they have the videos, they have the information of where and how they collected the monies. You understand? It's something that is disheartening. It's something that I don't know how we're going to get out of it.
But
At a point, I was thinking of military intervention, but it even seems the military has been bought over. They've been bribed enough, or they've been settled. You understand? So is all man to himself and God for us all.
so where do we go from here? Especially as it relates to how the public should be reacting. I mean, there should be a limit to these kinds of things. Where do we
Nigerians,
go?
Nigerians are not yet angry enough.
Oh,
And you see, there's something I'm seeing. If you remember the Goodluck Jonathan era, when he increased the pump price of fuel
yeah,
from was it from 87 or 97 to
yeah,
110 thereabout, and it was
yeah,
forced back. And before he left, he even reduced lower.
yes.
You understand? People went to the streets. But you see, right?
Occupy Nigeria.
God bless your heart. They went to the streets. It was as if it took the intervention of David Mark to speak to labor, because Jonathan was adamant too. because before then he was being touted as a very lazy, scared president. So for once he wanted to stand his ground. But David Mark was the one that came to rescue the situation. You understand? But today we've seen worse. A bag of rice is 50-something thousand. A loaf of bread, decent bread, which is the staple food for an average Nigerian, is 1,000 plus now. You understand? Is it fuel? Fuel right now, in the last 4 days, Charles, the fuel indicator on my car has been on. What I just do is I just drive. And when it occurs to me, I'll just say, if it's 2,000, if it's 3,000, just add. I keep going to where I'm going to. The other day, my wife told me, Daddy, the confidence you use in driving this car from where we stay to town, you understand? And that she was looking at and she was thinking I would enter one. But I said, no, I know that this one will take me because I bought last night. But how many? This is just for me to get my sanity. Because if I go with what is happening, what I spend on fuel, you've not talked about fuel. You buy fuel in your car, you buy fuel at home. At the end of in the last 3-4 weeks now, the light in my house has not blinked from public power supply. But I got a bill some 7 days back, 7,000 plus.
Wow.
You understand? So they keep pushing Nigerians to the wall. But it seems Nigerians are now under a spell. A mumu spell. Mumu spell. That's what I call it. Because the kind of things we are seeing and understanding now, I've never seen it before happen. Even the elites that are supposed to speak are not even speaking. We now have a government of deceit, a government of lies. Before they tell you, if a government tells you good morning, or if a government tells you we are going here, it is good morning and they are going there. But right now, the government will tell you good morning. You check, it might be night. They are going there. You get there, they are not there. Or they tell you, the story they told you is wrong. Or the people where they said they are going, the people say we are not expecting them, or it's a lie. You understand? They've turned governance into a circus show. The president tells us that they are removing subsidy, that there's going to be palliative buses. They are going to cushion the effect of the increase on civil servants. Charles, have you seen any palliative bus anywhere? Even in Lagos, have you seen any palliative bus that is supposed to help move people from point A to B so that they do not feel the impact? That's deceit. You tell the people A, you do Z. You understand? Nothing. Okay, you say we should tie our belt, and people are buying cars of 160 million. And one of them came on live television to tell you it's for their work, that if they use sedan cars, that if they use it to travel to their constituency 4 times, it will be bad. But each time you go for oversight functions, there are no roads anywhere in Nigeria. Each time after Federal Executive Council meeting, you hear how many billions have been earmarked for road projects. Where are these roads? Government of deceit, government of lies. And Nigerians, we might be angry, but maybe I'll say we pray too much. And I don't know whether we're expecting God to come from heaven.
Speaking of protests, something like that has happened in the past. We've had Occupy Nigeria, which, to some extent, they achieved a little bit of what we wanted. We also had NSAS. We know the casualties. We know in fact, I think the police brutality even became worse than it was even before the protest. So you would think that maybe protest is a way to go, and then you have democracy on one side. One would be thinking, what kind of protest is it? The kind of protest we had at Occupy Nigeria? Is it the violent kind of protest? Is it a protest to topple a government? Is it the kind of protest that we had in 2020 about NSAS? What kind of protest are we looking at in order to really change things?
Very simple. You remember Occupy Nigeria? It was not violent. What happened? People stay at home. Then they went to Ojota, blocked the entire road. And some people were busy feeding those there. They even brought in entertainment. That was also what happened in NSAS. But what did the government do? when it was occupying Nigeria, I said the Senate president then, David Mark, was the one that came to negotiate with Labour at the villa. Jonathan refused to meet with them. David Mark was the bridge. But at the end of the day, after back and forth, I remember there was even a time as at 3 a.m., they just came out from one of their meetings. And after a while, there was an agreement that they will reduce it from, I think, 110 to 97, because it jumped from, was it 65 then? There. So they had to come down to 97. And before they left, I remember the then Minister for Petroleum, Desani Alison Madueke, announcing that it went back to 87. You understand? Okay, now, under Buhari, it just came, boom. So what we're saying, Labour has not been effective with strike. And I think the people have lost faith with Labour, you know, and Labour seems to have understood the language, because I recall there was a time under Waba, they had this protest in Abuja then, and people refused to come out. And I remember Waba saying that as Labour president, that that they were no longer going to come out except it's something that affects them personally. Joe Ajero was trying to bring in a spark into this whole protesting, but you see, they've not been able to reconnect with the people. On one hand, if you look at the EndSARS protest, that was organized by the youths, and for the first time, the youths in Nigeria came together, and you saw that the protest was well organized. It was almost crippling the entire system, but the states, that's the power of the state, they brought in state actors, state criminals, state thugs to attack innocent youths just protesting, because they saw that as affecting their daily income. And that was when we had this whole shooting, and which they tried denying, and of course the whole world knows that they killed some youths. You understand? So I don't know how to, who is going to galvanize whatever protest now. You understand? Because Labour has failed. Civil society seems to be losing. I think maybe, I wouldn't know whether should I say they've been losing steam on a regular basis, maybe due to finance, or based on the fact that funding is no longer coming, because these foreign donors that fund civil societies feel that they've done so much in the last couple of years, and that by now, I mean, with what they've expended, they are supposed to, is it that we take up from there and get our acts right? But you find out that if we take one step forward with such intervention, give it a year or two, we are 10 step backwards again. So I don't know. It seems civil society have lost their steam, and the youths, I don't know, the youths have lost faith with the entire system, and that's why you see the Japa syndrome. Everybody living in droves. So who will build the cats? I wouldn't know, but what I see, I hope it doesn't come true. Well, I'm not one of those that say the kind of things I envisage or the visions I see happens, because I know people have that kind of mindset. But what I see happening is a revolution, and that revolution will be a child's play to the Arab Spring. You remember the
Mm.
Arab Spring? You understand?
Yeah.
This, because what is happening in Nigeria is happening in Ghana, it's happening in Republic of Benin, it's happening in Togo, it's happening, it's happening virtually. The people are angry. You understand? For some, they've been trying to cushion all of that, but Nigeria, it seems our political elites do not understand. And when you now want to use the judiciary to weaken us further, you can imagine what that revolution would look like. It's better not envisaged at all. And we should start putting the right steps, or the right tracks in the right step, or right step in the right tracks.
Right. Um, a lot of people would say that all of those protests we've had were specific. The one for the Occupy Nigeria was about fuel. The
Feel,
one
yeah.
for NSAS was about the police, which
Mm.
certain decisions were taken, even though not very firm. One would wonder, what exactly would the protest be about? Is it going to be a specific thing? Is it going to be to return back to subsidy regime? Because actually the suffering started, peaking when there was a removal of fuel subsidy, even though before then there was still hardship. But
Yeah.
as soon as the subsidy was removed, everything in the market skyrocketed. So what is it going to be about? Is it going to be like the government should resign and there'll be a fresh election, or what exactly would the protest be about? Because there should be a demand of some sort.
Chizzy Charles, it's all about good governance. It's all about good governance. You understand? Because you don't expect me, for example, I can't eat bread any longer. My
Mm.
daughter asked me, Daddy, you no longer buy bread. I tell her, I said, I no longer pass the area they sell bread. But and she said, but what about that supermarket by by the road to our house that I can buy bread there? I said, okay, I will check it some other time. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So that has been kind of stylishly removed from our staple. You get what I'm saying? So it's all about good governance. You don't expect me to adjust. And you as government, or you as the leader in power, you are not adjusting. For Christ's
Mm.
sake, Charles, what does the presidency need a yacht for? 5 billion naira yacht.
Mm.
You understand? If it's not, I've heard people talked about you don't know what they need it for, is to do some nefarious activities on the high sea. You get what I'm saying? What does the first lady office need vehicle of 1.9 billion for when our economy is still in shambles? You understand? And this is a president, you've not taken over the reign of leadership. You talked about the removal of subsidy in your inaugural speech, and everything just went boom. It now took you some weeks to understand the effect of that your statement, and you came up with palliative, giving governors billions, which they all pocketed for the election, for whatever they did with it. You understand?
Mm.
Then you came up with the floating currency market, and Nigeria, we depend so much on foreign currency. We are a consumer nation, and we import so much. So those stringent measures were put to help the naira stabilize. You said no. What do we produce today, Charles? Nothing. Virtually nothing. You understand? So how do we even the foreign? Okay, now we said I did a video when I got this information that the Buhari administration collected payments of crude that they had not supplied and wasted
Yeah.
those monies. You understand? So if we are not making dollar, how can our naira stabilize? You understand? So all the people, what we are asking for, if you are telling us to eat bread, let all of us eat bread. If you say it's agbado, cassava, and granite, let all of us eat. I don't know if you've seen this issue. Oshu state government said they've spent 2 billion in 2 months for food stuff.
Yeah.
Abia said they've spent 980 millions,
Yeah.
You understand? For food stuff. It sounds outrageous. In a state where some
Yes.
people can barely eat 3 square meals. Now, a state where some people can. The other day, I wanted to buy cold water, bottled water. And the lady had, these people that carry the water with gala. As she was putting it down and handing me the cold water, 2 conductors that were loading buses by my side just came, talk gala and say, okay, we chop gala when they're hungry.
Wow.
They didn't even wait. It's not as if they were asking, okay, we fit take. They just took it and tore it open. Hey, you must pay. I wanted to go. I just said, man, it's organo vex with the hungry. No. So I just told the lady, you understand? And I said, it's going to get to a point. People will just come knock your door. No move, we're not beating you. Just enter your kitchen, cook me, chop me, go.
True.
Then all of this, some people will be eating chicken, turkey, flying here and there. No, it doesn't work that way. If all of us are supposed to fasten our belts, tighten the belt, let's all do it together. Let's see that empathy from the leadership of the country. You understand? And let laws take its course. Nigeria right now is like a lawless society. We're very lawless. You understand? People think with money they can do and undo. Look at elections. State actors were busy printing for some people and were videoing it. Police with national uniform, they don't know what they are wearing. You know, and at the end of the day, when you don't do all that rubbish, you forget we go to the same market, we go to the same hospital, we enter the same transport. You are not going to buy fuel cheaper than I bought. You understand? So, well, for some of us, we are not yet angry to the point of wanting to take back our country on one hand. Then for others, is it that we've lost the will? And for some, I mean, is it no longer? Are you not surprised that somebody will, a husband and wife, they are working in banks, doing well, manager level, they have a decent house, cars, children. You can't call them poor in any ramification, but they will sell off everything and go to probably wash plates and caregive abroad. Does it make sense? And the government is not performed. It doesn't. Because some of them they've looked at, in fact, most of my friends that are outside, what they tell me is, oh boy, what do you see they do there? What do you see they do there? I say, if all of us take off, who go they here? You understand? I mean, who go they here? True. You understand? It is some of us that are giving some people hope. This man still there. Yeah, it's not as if it's easy. It's not easy anywhere, Charles. But you understand? Like I keep telling people, do not allow anything they do. I have developed a crocodile skin. Anyone that comes, it will bounce on my skin and bounce off. Then I'll now take my time to look at it and see how I can survive. Because if we keep on taking all the nonsense they've been dishing at us, you see people collapsing. You see people collapsing.
All right, Mr. Zanders, okay, many thanks for your time. We truly appreciate. We're supposed to do for just 15 minutes. I know we're now 32 minutes gone, but thank you so much for your time. We truly appreciate it. I hope when we call you for some other discussions, you would be available for us.
Anytime, bro. Anytime.
All
right. Me and you have some personal discussions too. Keep it real, bro.
Thank you so much. Thank you.